Hey everybody, this is Meredith Garrett, one of your classmates. So just to introduce myself to you, I am a graduate of Gardner-Webb. I graduated in 2007. Ended up studying biology and chemistry, thinking I wanted to go to medical school, and then I started working in the hospital system my junior and senior year, and I realized that wasn't at all what I wanted to do. I've worked at Gardner-Webb since I graduated, so as soon as I graduated and realized I didn't want to do the whole med school thing, I started working for undergraduate admissions as an admissions counselor. And I did that for about 3 years, and then I moved into the position as Director of Retention and Student Success. I did that for about a year. It wasn't a really good fit for me, and I envisioned that program looking at, so I ended up leaving that position and went on over to academic advising. As an academic advisor for Gardner-Webb, and specifically the population that I would work with would be the students on academic probation or suspension and things like that. So my title was Student Success Specialist, which is really hard to say fast. So anyway, during that time I went on and got my master's through Kansas State University, and it was all online, and my master's is in academic advising. I'm from Hendersonville originally. I met my husband here at Gardner-Webb my freshman year of college. We got married July 2007, or July 7th, 2007. So we've been married for a little over 7 years, well, 8 years now. Have 2 little girls, a 5-year-old who is in kindergarten, and then a 2-year-old. Well, my 5-year-old is Lila, my 2-year-old is Azalee, and I'm pregnant with my 3rd and last child, little boy. His name will be Stephen Ray. We'll name him after my dad and my granddad. So my dad's name is Stephen Ray, but Steve is my dad. We primarily call him Steve, and then my granddaddy was Ray. And then Azalee is my great-grandmother's name, so lots of meanings with those names, and Lila's a great-aunt's name. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me. I live right here in Boiling Springs. And currently about my position, I'm the director of our Learning, Enrichment, and Assistance Program, which is peer tutoring, and I love this program. It's a great fit for me, and I love the services that we're able to provide to undergraduate students in college. Trying to think if I missed anything else. Yeah, we live here in Boiling Springs. We've been here since we've gotten married, and never thought we'd end up settling in Boiling Springs, but we love the centrality of the area and being able to get to Charlotte now, or Hendersonville, which is where my family is, in an hour, and my husband's family's in Raleigh, so that's about 3.5 hours. So it's ended up being a really good place for us to settle and raise our family. So that's a little bit about me. If you ever have more questions, please let me know. Obviously, I like to talk, and I would love to get to know you guys better. I'm looking forward to going through these videos and learning more about you. But regarding this discussion today, and what Dr. Hamilton wanted us to talk about, was our definition of leadership. And I am, at this point I have a relatively good idea, or a solid idea of how I would define leadership, but I'm sure that'll change as I progress through the program. So I had to write it down just to help me get all my thoughts together. So let me just take a minute. Definitely I would say I'm more in the Rousseau, I don't know how to say it, I forgot how to say his name. Not Hobbesian, but I think it's Rousseau, in his theory. And I would say metaphorically, if I was to use a metaphor for this, I think of leadership like a river. So in that, the leadership part of the river would be the flow and the pace, and its managers would be like the natural elements, the sand and the rock and the different things that affect the flow of the river, and the beavers that build the dams and all of that good stuff. So they have to work together side by side to coordinate the overall orchestration to support the purpose of the river, or the hydrological cycle, which is making sure that the river gets to the ocean or to the lake, wherever its destination is there. And so all of those natural elements have to come together while the leader is kind of the flow that kind of keeps things pushing through. All those other elements are connected because the river can't flow properly and get to the ocean without those natural elements, which I would consider to be the managers. And so the perceived success or failure of the river or vessel could be determined by both the leader, or the flow of the river, and its managers, and how effectively the animals are able to keep up with their part in the flow in the river, the rocks and the different things that comprise the overall elements of helping the river flow. And the leader, which is the flow, and again the manager, the natural elements work together. They have to, and appreciate and adapt to the various positive and negative external and internal elements that cause the vessel or the river to thrive or dry up. So ultimately it could either thrive and serve its purpose and feed the ocean or the lake, or it could dry up if all of those elements and the flow don't work together. And there will be variables that are unexpected and tragic and devastating to that system, but they have to work together to learn how to flow through that. So any kind of natural disaster that may mess up the flow of the river, and trying to get that back together will take teamwork to get that back together, and just recognizing that conflict will be there always, and how do we recover to get through the conflict together so we can all serve or work toward our common purpose and goal. The leader or the river and its elements are vulnerable, and they, like I mentioned before, have to push through the unpredictable and unexpected and various uncontrollable dynamics that contribute to its overall function and purpose. And I would say a strong or successful river or strong leader or vessel is able to identify and appreciate the elements that has been given to recover from, quote, failure or disaster. So they know and expect that failure is going to happen. They know and expect that disaster is going to happen. But what they do is work together and use all those elements that they've been given to try to get back on track to the overall purpose and support the hydrological cycle. And so, of course, for the river or the leader, they all have to be in tune with the functions of what each other's job or role is. So communication is critical. Working together is critical. Understanding all the parts that go into the overall flow, and the overall flow could not work, or the leader could not perform to their best ability if the managers or the elements weren't willing to put in their part and understand what they were supposed to do. So yeah, so I would say that's a really, really long explanation of what I see leadership as being. But one thing I will say I really liked, I watched the Stanley McChrystal TED Talk, and when he mentioned leaders can let you fail, but not consider you a failure, I think that spoke to me a lot, and really I related to that a lot, because we're going to fail. We're not perfect, and so what do we do to adapt and get back in the mode of we can do this? Failure is an opportunity. It's not a negative barrier. It's just an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to learn how to grow. And so if you get stuck in that mode of, well, I failed, so I'm a failure, then you can't move forward, like Dr. Hamilton was talking to us about in class. So that is my whole spiel on leadership. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I hope this video worked, because it's the first time I've used it. Bye-bye.